All right, first of all, we just want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you for a great year. Wrapping up my first school year, half of school year, but for most of you it's been a full school year, so thank you. We had the largest incoming class this year, and I think many of us felt that as we went through the school year. We made it through a polar vortex, which was all kinds of fun, so thank you for that. Q at the International Center has been a huge success, so do you have any Q members here? Give a thank you. There's Brian in the back. Thank you for that. It's been a huge success. We've heard so much positive feedback on Q, so it's all very exciting. Special events. We've done a ton of special events this year, and they've gone off really, really well. And then the very last one was pop-up. So Jay, I believe, came with the idea of starting this pop-up, and it went like wildfire, was very well received. So thank you for trying something different and new. I think the students and everyone really appreciated it. Everyone that helped Jay make those successful. Thank you for that. So in January, when I first started, we started down a path of reimagining. I always call it something different. I think I got it right this time. Reimagining the future. And what this journey looks like for this team. We have received so much great feedback, and this journey has really been, feels like very fast and moving very fast, but this journey has been very, very successful because we have received so much feedback from all of you. I know Lisa and I have been in the unit spending time, so not only focus groups and surveys, but we've been spending a lot of time hearing from all of you, and I really, really appreciate that. We've received some awesome feedback. We keep asking for the good, the bad, and the ugly. We want to continue to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly. We haven't made it to all the units yet. I think we have a couple coming up. But we'll start coming around again to all the other units, and we're not going to go away. We've actually, as a leadership team, have committed to being in the units 2 hours a week, so that's visiting all of you. There's 7 of us in total, so that's visiting all of you each week to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, who you want to recognize, and all the other things that you just want to share with us. So as you see us in the units, please make sure that you share. If you've shared things and you need feedback, please ask if you haven't heard. Our job through one of the things we've heard through all of this, and we know we need to get better at, is communication. So if you're not hearing communication or the follow-up, make sure you're asking the questions. We're trying our best to figure out the best way to communicate everything with everybody. We are a large organization, so trying to figure out the best way to do those things. Some of the things that we've heard throughout the journey is the team engagement and just how we need to make sure that we engage all of you to be successful. We want excellence both in the front and the back of the house. So what does that mean to everybody? What does that look like? And again, we want to hear from all of you what that looks like. Communication is huge. It's probably the biggest theme that we've heard throughout all of this. And it's a very large, communication is really hard. And how do we communicate? It should be easy, but there's so much information that needs to go out, and how do we do that and be successful? So we're working on that. Training has been a big one. We continue to hear about how we need to make sure that we're training and what can we do to train better and more. Are you guys all awake this morning? Good, good. And then the last thing, as we look through this and as we've gone through this journey, really, what does it mean to be one culinary team? So to take away all the divides, the dining, the retail, the support services, and what does that mean to come together as one team? And that is really one thing that we are trying to, as a team, we're trying to figure that out right now. We want it to be seamless for all of our guests. We want it to be seamless for all of our team members. We want team members that are in dining and team members in our retail to feel like they're really integrated together. So that integrated dining piece, and what does that look like? We're starting down that journey of what does that look like, and who can we be as we start down this path. So this is our mission and vision, which we've talked a lot about in all of our meetings. Just wanted to throw this up there as a friendly reminder and a good refresher that we're going to be hearing and seeing a lot of these things. And as we've gone through, a lot of people have asked, what is the leadership goals? What is leadership working on? So the RHS team, Svenny's team, we went over and we identified goals that were important to us. And as we identified these goals, the culinary leadership team took them, and there is 6 categories, and we made our strategies on what we're going to do to feed up into those bigger picture goals. So success, team culture, the globally minded. This is what we set as a division. This is what the division is working on. The strategies that are up here in front of you are strategies that culinary is working on, and each individual unit will continue to set their own goals to feed up into those. It is important that as one whole division, being RHS, that we're all on the same path and we all see the same things. So these are what we're working on as a team. The leadership team is meeting every other week to talk about strategy and to talk about how we're going to continue to launch into the future, how we're going to think about things differently. And we're going to continue down that path and ask all of you what that looks like and what that feels like. But we're really looking at what does the future look like with these 6 things here in mind. Are there any questions on our strategies or our goals? Save your questions to the end, that's fine. As we, you guys can smile. Everyone looks like they're half asleep or something. We have some new roles and responsibilities as we move forward. I'm trying to loosen them up. I don't know. Some new roles and responsibilities. So we have our new Brody and Landon, complex manager. I'm still trying to learn all these titles because there's a lot of them and they're long and we're working through it. So Stacy in the back, everybody, where does Stacy come from? We have our new Owen manager, Duchen. Is Duchen in the room? Duchen will be overseeing Thrive. So her position now, we will be posting for her position, which is a complex one dining manager. And then we have some switches. So Dave Brown is going to South, and Michelle Keller is moving over to Rivershire. So that will be happening, the date? July 1st. So those will be happening very soon. So here are, just wanted to bring you up to speed on some of the projects that we're working on throughout the different units. And these are the upcoming projects that we'll be working on this summer. Yes, this summer. Yeah, okay.
Wilson will be over winter.
Okay. So these are all the things that we're working on this summer. A lot of things that we've identified, and this is the stuff that we'll be doing. So all kinds of refresh and new things coming, which is very exciting. Here's some more projects. So the Spartan Stadium, allergen friendly, they're looking at something at the stadium to be a little bit self-explanatory, allergen friendly, and what does that look like? We are at the union looking at some new concepts at the union, and how do we roll those out? We've all agreed that it is time to try some new things over here. Thrive again. Homes, where's my homes? So I told the group, I thought it was 2021, you were getting a renovation, it's actually 2022, but it's still on the books. So, I did mess up my one here, but it's not.
We got new salad carts, we're really happy.
Okay, good. Small things.
But because we added scope.
We had to move it back. So that's a good thing. We've added more scope, so that means that more things are happening. More refresh. So it's good. Good reason we can push back. So bingo, we're hoping to get that started, a mobile ordering app. We're really excited about that. We're ready to get it going. They've been waiting for a little bit on this one. Bakery is going nut conscious the date on this fall, by fall. So that's very exciting. We're continuing the work at Spartan Linen Services. Panera Bread is due to be online at the Broad Business College, which we are only managing the contract. Their Panera staff is coming in to run it. So that is supposed to be up and running in the fall. And then the workshop at STEM, which is a cool concept of kind of a marketplace and like bagel sandwiches and Starbucks probably serving. So that's all coming over to STEM. Upcoming events. We have another open house at Sparty's, which is Sparty's Marketplace in Starbucks. Those have actually been really, really well, so it's very exciting. It's a spring theme, so the team is getting ready for that. We obviously, everyone has heard that we have Odyssey of the Mind coming very, very soon, and then our Culinary Cup in the end of May. In May it will be over. Poof, gone. So, your time to ask myself or the leadership team questions. Please don't be shy. If I don't know the answer, I'm just going to tell you I don't know the answer. Or the leadership team can answer, so go ahead.
What is a pop-up that you guys keep talking about?
Yeah. Come to the Jay. Yeah.
All right, so the question was about the pop-ups. And so I had a conversation, I think in January with Benny, and we're looking at the innovations that we can do in the dining hall, and it seemed like a pretty low-key one. And so what it was is the chefs, the executive chefs, so like Chef Jason here, over at Brody, came up with a concept, and literally it's just like a pop-up restaurant. And so during, I think both of yours were at dinner, right, Jason? The two dinner ones at Brody, one was dough, and it was a wide variety of fried doughs, and so behind Pangea, they just popped up a restaurant at dinner time. And so it wasn't like meant to be heavily marketed, it wasn't meant to be a special moment or a special event. It was just like if you're walking down the street and somebody pops a cart up right next to you and you go, holy cow, that looks good, I'm gonna get some of that. And so we did them through all the 5 neighborhoods and all of that. And so we'll look at the fall, maybe doing something like that again. But it kind of breaks up, you know, if you've been to these halls. If you're a student and you think about it, they're here 212 days, 3 meals, that's 666 meals, 7? We'll go with 7. 667 meals. And so you want to do something to break that up for them. Even though we have cycle menus, once you get through a cycle, then you start seeing stuff again. It gets a little predictable. And so to provide something fresh and innovative for the students and give the chefs an opportunity, maybe they got some good ideas cooking up there. See what I did there? And they might want to put those out for the students. So that's what those were about.
Awesome, thanks, Jay. What other questions?
So we need to introduce somebody. Say it. Too close.
Thanks, Deb.
Kelsey Patterson is our new dietitian, so you're going to see her around. And she said we'd have no feedback today, so I had to have a little bit.
Thanks, Chef.
You're still saying
I'm going to go wherever there's questions. I'm not going to talk. I just taking the microphone to somebody else.
What other questions? Anything? What would you like to know? Yes.
So does it mean the bakery's going to be nut-free, this nut conscious, or?
Great question. We're actually, Gina, I don't know if you want to go into detail. I'll try to, then you can add. We are going to start with nut conscious, so there's still, we are not free yet because we're not doing the certified cleaning to have that done. But that is our ultimate goal, is to get there. I don't know if Gina, if you want to add something to that.
So legally, we cannot say that anything is free. We can say that Thrive at Owen will be free because we're actually doing testing to see if allergens are present or not. So Chef Jordan and Yu-Chen will be doing daily and weekly testings to make sure that there's none of the top 8 sesame or gluten in Owen. So we can legally say that it's free. So if you are in the dining halls, there's kind of that like loose term of conscious or friendly. And again, that's just because we can't legally say that it's free because we're not testing. So we're working with Cindy at the bakery to remove at least peanuts and tree nuts from the menu items, so it's not in the facility or anything like that. But we're not going to go through the actual certification piece of it until probably next year, or like next January or later. Part of that is because of the timing to get it cleaned. So right now in Owen, we're spending 2 weeks of cleaning everything with, well, we're not. Companies are coming in and cleaning with, toothbrushes pretty much of all the machinery, walls, floors, ceilings, all that kind of stuff to remove any sort of residue that may exist. So we're going to have to go through that process with the bakery, which means it'll have to get shut down for a little while, and there's a lot of implications that kind of go into it timing-wise. So we're going to go conscious and just have it made without peanuts or tree nuts in the time being until we can go through the real certification piece of it and make it free from.
Another question for you. This also means you'll be vetting sources for the ingredients to be using in the bakery?
Yes. Yep. So part of, you'll see the change come fall is changing the way that Kelsey and I trade for different allergens and products. So the only way that allergens will be traded now is if it's physically in the product. So past protocol has been, if it's on the same line, it's an allergen, same facility, not. We're changing that protocol so it's only the physical allergen will be traded. So that changes things like dried cranberries won't have allergies on them anymore type thing. The same thing will happen in the bakery. M&Ms no longer have a peanut allergy on them. So going through with a fine-tooth comb on their allergen or on their ingredients and on their recipes to make sure that nothing has a trait on it of peanuts and treatments. The certification company that we use for both Owen and eventually the bakery, they look at all of our ingredients, they look at all of our recipes, and make sure that we're following the protocols that need to be there.
I'm assuming that dry will also be pressurized, so you'll be forcing air out and not introducing stuff from the outside in.
You know, that we've talked with a certification company about that, or our auditing company, and they have yet to find an air purifying system that is, works good enough. I don't want to say works good enough, that will, fix that. But they don't have a concern on it, they're okay with it. When it comes to the airborne allergies, that's something we need to work specifically with the disability office on campus with and kind of make special accommodations for. So that was kind of the separate thing to work with. Good questions.
So, Bill, I did have another question up here, and maybe for you or someone else might. What is STEM?
STEM is a new retail operation, or it's the old power plant building. And it's a approximately $80 million project that will open up in January of 2022, I believe. But what it is, we're going to have a proudly serving Starbucks food service there. And Michelle Pell and Katie Palmaville are working on that in addition to a larger, broader team. But it'll be food service, and we'll also have corporate kitchen as part of the food service that we'll have at that location. But it's a teaching facility for all the STEM sciences, which are a variety of things from engineering to math, all those technical skills. And it's going to be a really unbelievable looking building. And we're going to have food service within that. And so that will be under the Starbucks banner. Proudly serving means that you serve a lot of the Starbucks products, but you can do what you want as far as food service. And so with the commissary and corporate kitchen and all the great products that they make for us currently in Smartyland, we're going to have some new developments and some new food offerings over there, as well as all the Starbucks beverages. So exciting project. A lot of planning has happened and will happen as we are a couple of years away. So exciting opportunity.
Any other questions? Before the next question, just wanted to take the time to anybody in the room that's helping the facility staff. Thank you for helping. We certainly appreciate it. I know they appreciate it. Matt and I have heard several times how they're very thankful to have everyone's help. So thank you for that. What other questions do we have?
Oh, it's all right. So my question comes from the slide. When we think about the one culinary services model, and I know we've heard that the strategic plan for culinary will be out, I think, later this summer. And so, do you have any hint or anything? What will that feel like for our guests? And what will be their perspective of it? Like, what are they going to benefit out of it? Will it help with attracting people to stay on campus? And then I have a second question.
Yeah.
If you want to answer that.
I'll answer that one first. So that's a great question, and we are really taking a look at that. Our goal, our end goal, so really we are looking at what do we want our end goal to be, and then we're going to line up the process and bring people in as we kind of really start to think about this. But our end goal is to make this seamless for everyone, make it seamless for our guests. I think we think it's important for the guests not to know if they're in a retail or dining space, that they just can go and purchase their food wherever that is, and that it's truly one team, one transaction, how we get there, that's just that we've just started down this road. So we want it to be an integrated dining experience, but we have a lot of work on how we're truly going to get there, but that's kind of the end goal for everyone, for the staff, for our guests, for everyone here on campus. So really good question.
The other one too is kind of with that, as we're planning our strategy, is part of our strategy being able to compete with all of this construction and all of the stuff we see going on around here, knowing that birth rates are going down, there's not typically a huge influx into Michigan, and you know, we've been through all the recruitment stuff and everything like that, so keeping our house counts up and giving our guests a good value.
Absolutely. I think the biggest one, actually, as I walked over here today preparing for this meeting, and I was walking over, I actually paused. I'm like, oh my, did I make a wrong turn going to the Union? Because that giant building totally changes the way it feels over here. But we have talked a lot about that. What does that look like? How do we have the capacity on this side of campus to be able to feed the students that live there? Really targeting our off-campus, and what does that feel like? Also looking at the trends of not really what do our students now want, but what is important through K through 6? What is important as we look at the 6th through the 12th graders in high school, and what does that look like as we plan our strategy, and what are they going to want when they come here? So that as we plan, we can do more options that are going to be benefit to them. Looking at the Sparties, and what does that feel like? What do we need to do to Sparties to change that, to make it feel a little bit different than it has? When we were in Virginia Tech, there was a lot of grab and go options. There was a lot of things that hot that they could just take and go, and is that more of what they want, especially as we have the block tuition, and we have more off-campus students. So really there's a lot of things for us that we've laid out on the table. It's just how do we start piecing now all of these pieces together? Really good question.
And just to tag it, because you said with smaller populations and we don't get people from outside the state of Michigan, we base incoming class based on deposits. If they deposit, they usually come. And international students and out-of-state students are both up from last year. So there are a higher population in this upcoming class based on deposits. They're not here yet, but you know, most people that make the deposit do arrive. So.
How does new construction in and around East Lansing isn't just for students? I mean, people are choosing to live here. Our hipsters that graduated years ago are coming back to live here. I mean, everything's within walking distance. Not to mention our fine university and all the diverse entertainment outlets that they have here, as well as culinary. Are we looking into that aspect as well?
Absolutely. And I think all the things that are going up and all the construction, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's healthy competition. We just need to, how do we prepare ourselves to be even better than what we are now, to be one of the reasons that they want to come back, or one of the reasons that when they graduate, they'll never want to leave. So looking at that.
And just to tag with that, some information that just came out last week. East Lansing was considered the 53rd best place in the country to live. And in that article, one of the reasons it is because of Brody Cafeteria. That was put in there specifically as one of the reasons. So the food services that you guys do does come, and that was one of the reasons it was ranked 53rd. So.
I've only heard a little bit about the block tuition or the flat rate tuition, and I was kind of wanting to know more about that and what the thought process is behind that, I guess, or what we would be gaining, or.
For a student, they can pay a price to take as many or as few credits as they want, a certain block rate. For us, we're not sure if students will start taking more credits, therefore we'll lose employees because they're focused on taking more credits. So we're really not sure how that's going to affect us yet. At Virginia Tech, they did have the block rate, and they didn't really see a whole lot of fall off at first, but we're really not sure how that's going to affect us yet.
Right. And a couple points. We're one of the last Big Ten schools to go to. We might be the last going to block tuition. The other thing with that is people staying for that 5th year, it costs them roughly another $25,000 to go here. So by the block tuition, they're trying to get people done with 4 years, saving them quite a bit of money. They save the room and board for that extra year, and they can finish a little quicker because the credits are, you can take 15 or above in 1 year. They do make exceptions for people. There are still some part-time students. They're under 12 credits. And there's a couple other people they made some exceptions for. They also made exceptions for people that are graduating in the fall. Some of them have been planning for years and maybe only need 8 credits or 12 credits to graduate. They took those into considerations.
Okay, so I'm not familiar. Oh, thank you.
Just saying, she had a foul. So you pay the same price whether you take 12 or 18 credits. That's what block tuition is. And if you take 15 a semester, you'll graduate in 4 years. They hope to get people through a little quicker because a lot only take 12 or 13 now. It is.
So I'm not familiar with, this is so weird to talk in. I'm not familiar with the block tuition. Is that specifically for the academic side, or does it also include dining and housing?
That is the academics. Block tuition is totally how they pay for their tuition. We don't get any tuition dollars, and we're self-funded, so it doesn't affect us.
So I guess more so, and that may still be the same answer, more so with their package. Well, for me, when tuition was paid, that included academics, and when I was on campus, it was housing and my meal plan. That doesn't have anything to do with it?
You mean financial aid?
Sure.
It does. Financial aid, you still need to take them. Where it hurts is some of those people, if you take 12 credits, you have to take 12 credits to get financial aid. So in the past, you could take 12 credits to get the financial aid. You're going to pay for 15 credits either way now to get your financial aid. And so that could have a factor on some of the people who have financial aid, maybe are at risk, and they are looking at that, yes.
Thank you.
Before, the price would be different if you had more or less credits. The dining plan didn't change, it's just
Right.
your tuition changed. If you took 18 credits, you paid more versus somebody who took only 12. So that piece will be a locked-in rate. Our dining plan will still be hand-in-hand with that. It's just that piece of it won't change for them, regardless of the number of credits they take.
How many people take 18 credits on average currently?
I can honestly say I have no idea.
So then this seems like a really high standard.
I think it's targeting the people that are probably taking more like 12 credits to get them to
become
take
the
that
15.
extra, to get them to 15 versus trying to cram to 18. I think that's what they are probably trying to shoot for, because 18 is a lot.
But we do have quite a few students at the school that try to get done in 3 years and do take 18 and take some during the summer to try to get done in 3 years.
So therefore, if they're taking 18 credits, they're more than likely probably not going to work.
Yeah, we probably don't know, and they probably are not working. No.
Yeah.
What positive outcome is there from this? Like, what is the goal? Just besides letting people graduate, or the goal might be to let people graduate earlier, but what if they don't take the 18 credits? What do they gain?
The goal overall, if they take 15, they're going to graduate that year earlier and save themselves a lot of money.
It's a benefit for it's a perceived benefit for the
Right.
student to get them out. What other questions?
I go to LCC and take 12 and take 12. Instead of counting.
If tuition is based on in-state, out-of-state, and international, why aren't our room and board rates kind of adjusted the same? You know, it's the same for everybody, correct?
Well, room board, and it's different. The tuition is different because the state of Michigan gives us a certain amount of money for our in-state students. Room board is the same price no matter what. We don't get any institution, any state money. So room board is the same no matter what. If you live wherever you're from. So, does that answer?
But it could be, I mean,
could be considered to be, prorated for each?
If we charge more in our position for people that lived out of state or international, we'd be looking like greedy gougers. Because we'd be doing it totally to get more money out of people that are coming from out of state. Because it's cost us the same amount whether you live in Lansing or if you live in California.
What, I was going to ask, where do our rates fall within the Big Ten for housing and food service?
I like right in the middle.
Yeah, it's hard to compare because we have an unlimited meal plan. Some people have 13 meals, 15 meal plans as their meal plan. And so there's 14 Big Ten schools and we're like 8th or 9th, so we're just a little bit past. But some of the schools that charge more offer 13 or 14 meals too. So they offer less than we do and still charge more.
What other questions?
So is Riverwalk changing to Thrive then?
I'm asking from the laundry because we're still marking things Riverwalk. The River Trail.
Yes. Well, that's two different things, Riverwalk and River Trail. We will be changing at linen because all of our linen has to, I'm going to answer a little bit different. If you're working in Thrive, which is Owen Food Service, formerly called Riverwalk, and we're working with the union now, but you'll have to sign a sheet. You get dressed downstairs, you can't come in uniform. Your uniforms have to stay there. We have to provide those uniforms because you have to make sure that if you got in your uniform and came to work and ate a candy bar on the way in that had nuts in it. We have to control that. I mean, that's visual. I mean, that's not really why we're doing it, but that's a visual that you can see and understand why. And so the uniforms will be downstairs. We will need to mark them. But you launder them, so it really, and some of them, like the black shirts, doesn't matter where, but we will be changing the name, yes. River Trail is the whole neighborhood, and they will still be part of the neighborhood. That makes sense? Did I answer your question?
I'm just wondering embroidery and tagging, because we're still tagging for Riverwalk.
Right.
Okay.
And
Gina, do you have anything?
it won't hurt us if it's still Riverwalk, but, I mean, it won't hurt us if it's still called Riverwalk or Thrive, because it's still going to end up in the same place.
Which type of things? Like which articles? Like hat aprons and things like that?
Chef coats, pants.
Chef coats going to be Thrive.
Yeah, chef coats are changing to a whole different coat, or just one person's coat.
They don't plan to have like the branded aprons or anything like that. It's going to be the standard crossing out was out the Spartan hat, black apron, black polos type thing. Through the certification, as well as can launder them, and that's not an issue going back and forth. Like Matt said, it'll be part of the whole neighborhood piece of it. But yeah, the actual like Riverwalk aprons and hats and things like that should be followed.
So the brand needs to disappear, that's
Yes. The only one that'll get branded right now is Chef Jordan's. He's getting more of like a gray and purple because purple is the allergen color nationally. So he's getting a gray chef coat with a like purple piping to look a little bit different and stand out as that resource person and person of contact. So his is the only one that would be different.
Rebecca, I got a question for you. No, I actually maybe more of a comment. The one slide on RHS, not values, but the CS strategies.
Yeah.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello. Thank you. Don't know how this works. What should a team member start to think about when they think about the CS strategies that are listed on that one slide?
Yeah, so it's really, I kind of mentioned as we went over the slide, but just as you look at your goals that you've been setting, which many of the units, all of the units have set goals, just make sure as you continue to look in your units and set your goals that they feed into these strategies. As we continue to work and get a plan laid out, we'll continue to share, but this is where we're headed. So as you're thinking in your units or you're doing things or making decisions, we want you to keep these things in mind to make sure that you feed up into those strategies. So your goals, a lot of the goals, I'd say most of the goals that were set all do feed into these that were sent over to Gina the last time the group met. So we're all on the right path. This is kind of just our guiding map to get us where we need to be.
Yes. So the question they have, are these going to be sent out to everybody?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
So I was told that one of the venues in Holmes Hall was going to be turned over to a veg out or a vegetarian station. I was wondering if that's still happening for the fall and how is that supposed to look like?
Yes, it is still. Yes, really waiting to respond. I can just see it in his eyes.
Yes, what we found was some of the remodeling and taking Hubbard online. For all the student groups, we tell them we'll have a veg out in every neighborhood. And we found out, okay, we didn't have one in East this year. So the promise to the student groups was that we'd have one by fall. It's going to be in homes, and I don't have the whole diagram with me, but they are rearranging some of their stuff to do it.
It's going to be a hybrid.
Justin might be able to answer it better
It's
than
going to
me.
be a hybrid station. We're still going to retain some of the origins of fare, but the other half will be just veg out and only vegetarian and vegan items offered there.
And this is just a trend across the country. You know, we used to say, okay, vegetarian items go 5, maybe 10% on a good day, and they're much, much more popular now with plant-based diets and stuff. They're becoming much more common, and we could not go another year with a neighborhood without something in there, and so that's why we added to homes. We looked at venues in both acres and homes, and the team over there came up with where they thought was the best spot. So.
Sorry,
I feel like I'll make a good window to it.
Any other questions? All right, well, thank you all for all your hard work. We will be, the team and I will be around till 11 o'clock, so if you want to stay back and ask questions, that's fine too. Thank you for making your way over. Thanks for all you do. We certainly appreciate it. As we're in your units, please make sure that you continue to have conversation with us. It's one of my favorite things to do is to be in the units and interacting with all of you. You all do a great job. There's one thing that culinary has a lot of, and it's a lot of passion for what you do, so don't lose that. As we make our way through this journey that we're on, we are looking at, this is probably about an 18-month journey or so, but we want everyone to be included, and if you're hearing things, please ask questions. If we have an answer, we're certainly going to give it to you, and we're going to be as transparent as possible. So thanks for all you do. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you around.